All right, we are live. Welcome, Melody. Take it away.
Hi. Hi, guys. My name is Melody Larissa, mentor and regional trainer with PRAVANA, and I am so excited to be with you guys today. I am coming live from you from my beautiful Beauty Method Suite here in Columbus, Ohio. I would really love to know where you're coming from, so in the comments below, make sure you say where you're coming from, how long you've been in the industry, and if you are a PRAVANA user, make sure you give all the heart emojis. I'm just going to give just a couple seconds just for some more people to come on and get tuned in. But I'm really excited about today. We have a lot of stuff, a lot of ground to cover. And most importantly, I get to introduce you to the new PRAVANA ChromaSilk Beige shades, the new additions on there. So again, my name is Melody Larissa, mentor and regional trainer, and welcome. I'm so happy that you can be here. So first and foremost, I really am excited to show you this Bronde Beauty Melt that I'm going to be doing. So I don't know about you, but I'm behind the chair and everyone is wanting to go a little bit darker, moodier for fall. I'm shedding a couple tears for my super bright blondes that I had to work so hard to get there. They're like, put brown on me. I'm ready for my chai tea lattes, my pumpkin spice, and my brunette hair. So I'm crying a little bit, but something that I can do, and you can do too, is instead of completely transitioning them to brunettes or your brunettes going to blonde, how about creating a blonde moment? Are you guys seeing a lot of blonde people coming in? I feel like that was a really big trend this summer. I know I had a ton of brunettes that were trying to come in, wanting to go lighter, and we just ended up with more of a smokier, brondier look. So a couple things I'm going to showcase again is the new Bronze series. So that is launching here in a couple weeks, and that is going to be, our new Beige series, and that's launching in a couple weeks, and it's about 4 or 5 new shades. It's going to be the 5.22. It's going to be our 6 neutral beige. It's going to be our 7 neutral beige, and my ultimate favorite is going to be the 9.23, which is a beige gold. So beautiful, and again, so complimentary for a bronded look. So real quick, I'm going to introduce you guys to my beautiful model, Stephanie. All right, actually, hold on, I take that back. Stephanie is actually over here processing a little bit. You guys will check in with her. But it's her twin sister, Stephanie. So, we got Stephanie as her twin sister. I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how I sectioned this out for the Bronde Beauty Melt. Again, utilizing the new ChromaSilk shades. So first thing we did is, ideally, for Stephanie, and I'll just bring her over because it's easier to show. I'll take this down. I'm going to get just a little bit close up. This is going to be perfect for somebody who hasn't been in your chair for about, I would say, 4 to 6 months. So Stephanie here, she's lived in, I haven't seen her for about, I don't know, say 6 months. Realistically, if I'm being honest, she's been in the back of my trunk since January, but for legal purposes, because some people might say that's kidnapping or holding them hostage, we're going to say I haven't seen her for about 4 to 6 months. So she is a lived-in blonde, or a lived-in brondy look already. So she has a little bit of lifted shades on her ends. And let me know if you guys can kind of see that. If you need me to, I can kind of come in just a little bit closer so you guys can see. So again, a really ideal person for a little bit of a melt. So what we're going to do is, since I already know she's going to be a little bit more rooted, I'm not going to add any more definition to the top. Instead, what we did to kind of get her prepped for this color melt is my beautiful assistant Lexi went in and created a really nice bright face frame. So rule of thumb for me, usually when I'm creating a face frame, is, let me switch these guys out. Perfect. Is when I'm creating a face frame, I usually like to use about 2 to 3 fingers. So about 2 to 3 fingers right around the head. And for this one in particular, for Stephanie, what we did is we did a face frame, or Lexi did the face frame for our model today. And she even extended that face frame right below and behind the ear. That way, when we do that 9.23 as her face frame color, it's going to extend and be a really nice contrasting tone on top of her color melt. So very beautiful, really stunning. So I'm going to go ahead and put her away so I can show you guys the actual sectioning for this. So like I said, you're gonna want to do the face frame last for this because we are using darker tones. I am going to be using 5.22. I'm going to be using 6 NT beige and 7 NT beige. So I like to start in the back of the head, and like I said, Lexi, I'll have you kind of get in a little close so you guys can kind of already see the processing and the melted effect. What I did is I took out the front sections, braided those forward, and then I took my sectioning is going to be going around the head. The reason I like that, and I'll show you real quick, is when you're doing around the head sections like this, it's really easy to create movement. Does anybody else take their sectioning like this, by the way? Drop it in the comments, let me know. Beautiful. So this is how my sectioning is going to be for my color melt. So the entire time I'm taking circle shapes or like little, little crescent shapes all around the head, and I'm using that as my color melt sectioning. That way, and how I usually do this is I'll even break this off into 3 parts. So that way I will have my color melt come down here. I'll bring this section coming back. That way, again, I'm creating movement. So it doesn't stay stagnant or going too flat. I'll bring this going back towards the head. And same thing with the other side. I'll have that coming back towards the head. Again, I will be doing my face frame last. So now that I've shown you guys the sectioning and how we're going to be doing that, I want to get into a little bit about the beige tones I'm using. So for me, I always feel like I come into the conversations, especially with guests. We all know they bring in their Pinterest inspiration boards and they're like, I like Bronde. And they're like, but I want it to be really, really cool. I want my Bronde colors to be cool. Or you'll hear someone say, I want them to be really rich. I want them to be a little bit more richer in tone. Or is Bronde more of a brunette or is it more of a blonde? My answer to all of those, usually to my guests, is that it's all of the above. It can be whatever you want it to look like. For me, though, I'm going to kind of bust out a little color theory for the beige series, is that when I break out the beige series, it's because I can go either cooler with it or I can go more neutral and also have a little bit of reflective tone to it. And I feel like that's really important. So I'm going to kind of like have a little discussion with you guys. So I busted out my favorite PRAVANA color book, and I'm going to kind of come up a little bit closer to you guys. So when can you see this? Let me make sure if you guys can see this or not. I'm going to talk a little bit about like the underlying pigment, especially when we're dealing with beige, and the best places to use them, especially with some of these new shades that we launched. So when I'm doing anything with like, again, the beige series, when I'm doing anything with the bronding technique, I usually always end up living in somewhere around the 6, 7, 8, and 9s after I've lifted my guest. So would you guys say the same? Usually I would say when I'm lifting, especially a brunette, usually the tonality is going to be, I find a lot of my blondes end up being like the blonding that I lifted is going to be around like level 6s, 7s, 8s, and even sometimes 9. Usually the 9 and 10 is for those brighter pops and pieces throughout. But when I was younger and starting off in the industry, I always found that level 6, 7s, and 8s were probably some of the hardest levels for me to tone. Did anyone else feel that way or still feel that way? The reason why is because when I felt like I was toning some of my, when I felt like I was toning at some of those levels, like especially like a level 6, I felt like I would never get it cool enough, or that it was too warm. Or if I was toning at a level 8, that it was either warm or I overtoned it and then it got like really muddy in like its pigment. And I hated that, and I had to really work through that until I found PRAVANA's 0.22 series or their beige series. So what's great about beige is that the background color is blue violet, which is amazing, especially if you struggle with neutralizing out tones at a level 6, 7, 8. So for me, what's nice is that at a level 6, 7, and 8, the underlying pigment that you are exposing is at level 6, you're exposing some orange with yellow. At level 7, you're exposing some yellow with orange. And then at level 8, you're exposing yellow with just a little hint of orange in there. What's nice is that the beige with its blue-violet base goes in and it neutralizes the orange, and it also neutralizes the yellow. How nice is that? And how many people knew that already? If your minds are blown, give me like a little light bulb or like a little heart, because again, I feel like as a stylist, I struggled a lot with that, especially when I was starting off in the industry, neutralizing those. So what's nice is that, again, when I'm creating like a Bronde tone, at a level 6, I can use that 2-2 series and create a very neutralized tone. Especially with our new 6 neutral beige, I can create a really beautiful neutralized tone. And then at like a level 8, if I'm wanting my tones to be a little bit cooler, I can use that 2-2 series, my 8.22, to create a really cooler Bronde tone, because not only am I neutralizing out the yellow, but that blue that's in there is neutralizing out any extra orange, also creating just a little bit extra cool moment. How's that sounding to everybody? Again, I wanted to show a little bit of the color theory before I got into the technique, because I wanted to show you how you can utilize the beige series just in your everyday clientele. So that was really important to me to find out, and that's kind of giving you a little bit of the groundwork of why and how I like to use it for doing any sort of bonding that I do behind the chair. So alrighty, so now that you guys know that and that you guys feel good, any questions so far, by the way?
Everybody is loving this. I think you are just giving them so much info, so much education. They can't wait to try it.
Perfect.
They did want to see some close-ups of the hair, though. So when you get into it, awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. And guys, I come from a very loud, talkative Italian family. If I am talking too fast, let me know. I will slow it down a little bit for you, but guess what? It's time for me to get coloring, so I am going to show you a little bit of my formulas behind the scenes and how I'm going to be utilizing this color melt. So let me get my gloves on. That seem to take forever because I'm on screen and have to do it in front of people, so hold on. Perfect. All right, so a little tip and trick that I like to use. By the way, I forgot to mention this in the beginning, but there's going to be a giveaway of some amazing products like during this entire live. So make sure you're tuning in, make sure you're commenting so you guys can be entered. But one of the products is my favorite. It is the Purify and Revive Prime Spray. It's almost empty because that's how often I use this. Every client gets a little bit of this Purify and Revive Prime Spray. If you use it already, let me know. It's amazing. It helps diminish any mineral buildup. It just really creates a beautiful blank canvas. And the best thing is that I can literally spray this. Oops, see, it's already almost out. Pretend it's spraying. Okay, there we go. I can spray this on my client's hair all over, let it sit, go mix up my color, and within like that time frame of like 5 minutes, it already has worked and it's doing its job and giving me a blank canvas. And how great is that? That's one of the goodies that you guys get to take home with you if you win. Alrighty, so we got our section out already. And again, working in clean sections. So I have my formulas mixed up. So I'm going to show you right now. I have my Formula 1, which is our new 5.22, our Intense Beige. I got our second formula, which is 2 parts of our 6 neutral beige to 1 part of 522. I got our third formula, which is going to be our level 7 neutral beige color. There's a lot of colors over here. I got our fourth ones, which is going to be on the ends. This is going to be our 9.23 and 8.22. And this is with 30 volume, and I'll tell you in a second. And then this is our final formula. This is for that really beautiful, bright face frame of 9.23, our beige gold. And guys, oh, it is so amazing. I can't wait for you to use it. Alrighty, so let me make sure you guys up close and cozy to me. Let me make sure you guys can see this. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and start right here in the back. Like I said before, What's nice about this sectioning is that because it gives you movement, I can move these sections back, out, do whatever I want to do. But for the most part, I can lay this one for, I like to do the one in the middle first, and then I like to bring these ones on the side last. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go in with my first formula of 5.22. And your sections, you should be able to see your hand through them. So that's a rule of thumb. I am going to go in and I'm going to create a very tiny micro root, like very tiny. This is going to just be like a little tap root, and I'll tell you why here in a second. So I would say that she is easily like a level 5 base. And for someone who is wanting a very lived in melted look, and that is a level 5 to begin with, I always feel that it's nice to just kind of take something that is very close to their natural base color and create a very, very tiny root with it. Because what I'm going to go in and do second, again, guys, that was the 5.22 with 10 volume, is now I'm going to go and right next to that, I'm going to go in with that 5.22 and 6 neutral beige with 10 volume. I'm going to melt those together. And if I'm being 1000% honest with you guys, that was probably just a little bit too big of a section for my liking. So I'm going to just split that in half. Perfect. All right, so that's your base. And what's nice is that with this second color, you can extend that. You can go longer with it. I would just keep that first one, your micro one, just right here. I wouldn't go too far down, like not even an inch, like maybe half an inch with that. So I'm going to go ahead. That's really nice and saturated. Beautiful. This is going to be my third tone. So this is our level 7 neutral beige. And I'm going to take that right up there. This is with 20 volume. So that I'm guarantee up to 1 level of lift. And this is the back of the head. So what do we like to live in the back of the head? Dimension. So to me, if you want to extend that darker pieces or that root or anything like a little bit longer or make any kind of tonality a little darker, it's always in the back of the head. That's going to create your dimension. I feel like right now, like how color melts are, I feel like they're almost a blend, and maybe you guys feel the same way. It's almost a blend of like of balayage and like the two and like an actual color melt. I feel like they're kind of together because we're still wanting to see brighter pops and dimension throughout, and you'll see how I kind of play with that throughout this technique. And so that was the end color. I'm wiping my hands off after every section so we don't transfer any colors onto each other. I'm going to take this little piece here. Again, I already put my second, so I'm going to go in with my third right here. And can you guys see this? Let me know. I can turn this around. There we go.
Yeah, that's better. You could actually get in a little bit closer.
Lexi, get
to
on
that
in,
hair.
girl. Get close.
Get in there.
Get in
That's
here.
awesome. Thank you. That looks better.
I was like, I wore deodorant for you, Lexi. You can get in, okay, girl. Like, there you can get in. Perfect. So I am saturating this color on. So again, that level 5.22 I did right here. That 6 neutral beige with the 522 I did right in this area. Brought that level 7 here. And now I'm taking my 9.23. That level 7 probably went here. 9.23 and 8.22. That is my 4th color. And I did 30 volume with that. The reason why I did 30 volume is because I'm wanting those ends to really pop for me. I'm really wanting them to be lighter and brighter. And with 30 volume, I can do that. So now I'm going to shift her to the side. Beautiful. Oh, maybe even there. So now what I can do with this is I'm actually, instead of pushing this right here, I'm going to be directing it back. The reason why is that this gives me more movement. And that's what we're looking for. Do you guys remember the 2015, the 2014-15 color melts? It was like Neapolitan ice cream. It was like really straight to the head. It was like 1 color, 2 color, 3 color. Yeah, we're not doing that anymore. So like I said, I'm taking that 5.22 and doing a really baby tap base on the head. That was not my idea. Presley Poe, actually, I saw her do it and I tried it on a guest and I absolutely loved the results. And so I started doing it and then taking my second base color and going right up to it. So going right up. And again, you guys can kind of see, like with me directing this back, there's going to be this beautiful movement when I move this forward. So making sure that's really saturated. And
hey, Melody.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we have a question from YouTube from Cinead. I hope I pronounced that correct. Is the root tap 10 volume?
Yes, the root tap is 10 volume. So Pravana's 10 volume is minimal lift, maximum deposit. So you're going to get minimal lifting and just mostly deposit with that. Where our 20 volume is up to 1 level of lift and deposit. Hopefully that helped answer that question.
Perfect. And then Morgan asked, are you using permanent color?
I am using permanent color. So this is going to be a ChromaSilk overlay. So yes, this is permanent color. That is with our new beige, some of our beige tones that we are using. So yes. And then I'm going right in here. So again, I used that level 7 right here. And as you can see, because I am directing this back, I'm going to be bringing up almost my brighter shade, that 9.23 and 8.22. I'm bringing it up higher, almost kind of like how we do on balayage. So I'm bringing it up a little bit higher, that little face frame up a little higher for us. And I'm laying that down. Perfect. And I really do love, like, because, you know, most of the times I feel like when we do our color melts, we usually do, you know, like a demi or anything like that. But I really do love utilizing our ChromaSilk for our color melts, especially for like the winter and fall times. That may be something that I'm wanting to last a little bit longer for my guests. If there's maybe just like a little bit of lifting that I'm needing to do, but I don't want to have to actually go in with my lightener and have to lift anything, I can use my ChromaSilk colors with 20, 30, or even 40 volume and create that lift and deposit. And I feel like that's really nice. So once again, I'm using my little baby taproot going in on this section. Let me make sure you guys can see this okay. Oh, hold on. Thank you, Lexi, directing me. Perfect. And again, this is 5.22 with 10 volume. Beautiful, making sure that we're really saturating our section. And then I'm going to go in again with that second color. So you guys can see very, very small. And then I'm going to go in with my second section. And if you guys feel like this is just way too much hair in your hands, obviously drop it. For me, I'm going to just section that out so I'm not sloppy. I can really show you guys how I'm melting this.
All right, we have a question from Lisa. Is 5.22 warm or cool or balanced?
So good question. So again, the background tonality of our beige is blue violet. So if we actually want to break that down, level 5, you're going to be seeing the underlying pigment is going to be orange. So the blue in our beige is going to help neutralize and tone out the blue in there, but that violet is going to almost kind of keep reflective tone. So I wouldn't say necessarily that it's warm, but I would say it's almost like it's more of like a controlled warmth. Does that make sense? So I would definitely say more on the neutralized side than on the ultimate cool side, and it's not on the extra warm side either. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. Beautiful. So guys, this is my third color. So this is going to be that level 7 with 20 volume. I think for this, you know, you want to mirror each section, right? So we want to make sure we're mirroring each side. So then I'm going to go in with my 9.23, kind of like what I was doing before. I want to make sure that I'm kind of keeping it that 9.23 and 8.22 with 30 volume. I'm keeping it a little bit higher in the front. So that way it's almost kind of like going to be going really nicely with that face frame piece. Beautiful. Okay. And I'm going to just do this section right back here. How are you guys liking this technique? I always say everyone's seen a color melt. everybody has seen a balayage. I feel like it's at this point, we're kind of reinventing the wheel a little bit, but the most important thing is about the formulas that you're creating for your clients, the customization of your formulas. And for me, again, I really enjoy the beige series because I really like, again, like I said earlier, that I can take that 2-2, and if I want it to be more neutralizing at a level 6, I have that. If I want it to be more cooler at a level 8 or 9, I also have that option as well. So I'm just really finding a lot of different options for my guests, and they're really enjoying it. I get a lot of requests for brunettes. I get a lot of requests for brunettes who are wanting Bronde. It's really weird. Like a year ago, you kind of hear that phrase like kind of passed around a lot in the hair industry, which is like fill the gap. Like if there's an area that's needing like help or needing a little bit extra love, then maybe try like leaning into it and specializing into it. And honestly, there's a lot of brunette specialists that are needed right now because there's a lot of brunettes who want to have some fun. I think we see a lot of redhead specialists and a lot of blonding, but also some brunette specialists too. So I'm really enjoying this little takeover of Bronde tones, especially for my brunette clients.
Everybody's loving this and they cannot wait to try this in this sectioning. We did have a question from Katie. She said, is there a difference from the existing beige tones and Pravana color to the new beige tones?
Absolutely not. So the only, I take that back. So the 5.22 is going to have the same thing as like our 6.22. Sorry, I'm gonna bring this up. So right now, these are, let me know if you guys can see this. Hold on.
A little blurry, a little bit closer. A little up, or maybe you put the thing down a little. Yeah, that's better.
Is that good? So
yeah,
these are, thank you, sorry. These are our existing beige tones that we already have. So it's 6.22, 722, 822, and 922. And these are actually, as you guys can see, there's it's like the level 6 and then there's 2 2s after it, which means that it's double pigment. So there's actually 200% of that BV pigment in that tone. How crazy is that? So that is what is existing. So what we're adding onto it is obviously we're adding on a 5.22, and then we're adding on a level 6 and 7 neutral beige. So those two are going to be like what's really, that's going to be a little bit different than what's existing, because the neutral beige is a part of our new neutral series that we just launched. And forgive me guys, because my 2020 and 2021 are kind of blurred together. So I believe we launched that either late last year or early this year. So our neutral series, if you guys are familiar with Pravana, we have our N series, which is more of a blue base. So we wanted to kind of help stylists out. And we always say like another tool for our toolbox. And we created a true neutral series. And so we have like our neutral level 7, neutral level 6, which means like the base and in nature, like the base is just going to be a little bit warmer or richer compared to our regular levels, just compared to our regular N series. So what's nice is that our neutral beiges, I really enjoy this, and I've enjoyed it behind the chair using it, is that because it has more of a neutral background, which if you guys don't know this already, what makes neutral is like you have your blue, you have your 3 primary colors, you have your blue, red, and yellow. And blue is bully. So if you have just equal parts of all 3 primaries, blue is just going to take over. And that's where you get our regular N series. So to create our neutral, we have, 1 blue, we have, I believe, 3 reds and 2 yellows to kind of help counteract that and create our neutral. So that is the base of our neutral. So we have, our 2-2 series that we're adding to it. So it has the nice reflectiveness of a neutral. I would say like the reflectiveness, a little bit of that, I don't want to say warmth because I feel like warm can be kind of a bad term, but it definitely has a reflectiveness, but all the cool tonality of our beige series that you love. So hopefully that helped answer that question. Oh yeah, and that PS, obviously the 9.23, which is the beige gold, that is literally my favorite. I love every moment of it because it's a controlled cool. So usually at a level 9, if you're applying a beige on a level 9, because it is blue violet, you can probably get a very extra cool result. Maybe something a little too dull, maybe something that your client wouldn't really want. So what's nice is that they put a little bit of gold into that formula, making sure that it's a controlled cool. So it really gives you this beautiful, like, I don't even know, like, I don't even know what the word is, like this soft blonde at a level 9. It's so beautiful. I can't wait for you guys to try it out.
That was awesome. Thank you. And we have a question from Crystal. How thick are the sections you're taking?
My sections are about, it's so hard because, you know, mannequin hair, like at one point I would say, I don't know, not quite half an inch, maybe a 1/4 inch section. But you know how sometimes you can get a mannequin head and like one part of it will be like, okay, there's like 3 hairs on that and you need to take more. But I would say probably like a 1/4 inch section is how thick my sections are. And if I feel like if my sections are too thick, I really will go in there and like split it up, because I do not want to not get enough saturation. So saturation is key to a beautiful color. So again, guys, going in at that base with that 5.22, creating a very small tap or a micro root, going back in right behind it. And I am going to be taking this section and directing it back. Beautiful. And what's nice is when you are doing color melts, you know, feel free to play with, like, you know, maybe you're going to stretch this root out a little bit longer. You definitely want to make sure whatever you're doing on one side, you're mirroring all around. But, you know, on each section, you know, make sure you're doing something slightly different, so that way you don't end up with that Neapolitan striped melt that sometimes can happen. So I'm just feathering that down, making sure it's really nice and blended. Beautiful. Now I'm going to go in with my 7.22, or my 7-point neutral beige with 20 volume. Gonna meet that right up there. Perfect.
All right, Julia is asking, do you think it would work on already colored hair, like for example, a level 6?
No, because color doesn't lift color. So what I would say is that if you wanted to do something, I would say break it up. So kind of break it up with like a balayage, like go into that sectioning or go into that person's hair and break it up with a balayage. And then perfect. And then I would do an overlay on top of that. Keep in mind that obviously that color that's already on there, it might get toned down a little, but you know, color doesn't really lift color. So you know, you kind of take that chance, but at least all like the new blonde that you put in there will get all the benefits of that beige tonality or that bronded look that you're wanting. So guys, we are already like, we're moving. I'm so excited. So I'm going to go ahead, and I am left with this little piece in the back, and I will be finishing this off camera, but I wanted to show you a little bit how to do that face frame before we get off here. So something that I do, I feel like that helps me, is her face frame is actually right here. Like I said, I like to go like 2 fingers back for that. So her face frame ends right about here. And again, shout out to the best assistant ever, Lexi, for helping me out with that. She's the boss. She got my mannequin prepped for me. So what I do is I'll actually take this piece of hair, which is supposed to go back here, and I'll kind of like have that a part of that section. So that way, like, just in case if any of these darker colors got on, like if any of the darker colors accidentally transferred, it's transferring onto a section that's going to be darker anyways. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make sure that all like the bright blonde pieces that I want are out. Perfect. And now I'm actually going to direct this backwards. So what I'll do is I'll take a piece of foil, lay it right back there so nothing transfers. Beautiful. And now I'm going to go in once again with, again, break this section up if you need to. I'll go in with that 5.22. I'll go in with that second base color and all that, and I'll add that on here. By the way, did we pick any winners yet for the products? I know that we had a few. We had I believe we had some shades that were going to be some new of the base shades that we're going to be giving out. Obviously, that prime spray that I showed you guys earlier. There were some goodies. You guys asked amazing questions, by the way. Thank you so much. You guys are killing it.
Yeah, we will pick a winner after the live. So y'all still have a shot right now. So get your questions in. And actually on that note, we do have a few questions. So I will go ahead and rattle those off. Lisa's asking 9.23 with which level developer for base retouch / gray coverage? And is this the best blonde to use to reduce brassiness?
All right, so that is a loaded question. So I'll go ahead and answer that. 9.23, it will not be a gray covering color. So the only gray covering color that we do have in the beige series are going to be the new beige neutrals, I do believe. If some of my Pravana peeps are on here, please double check me on that one. But I do believe that they're part of the new neutral series. So I believe those are gray covering. So those are the only ones that are going to be a gray covering shade, I do believe. And then, is this the best to tone out blonde? That all depends on where you're starting and where you're trying to go. So for me, these are going to be the best to tone at a level 6, at a level 7, and at a level 8. Because again, the background is blue-violet. So you're going to be neutralizing out the orange and the yellow that you see at your levels, level 6, 7, and 8. But obviously the lighter in tonality that you get in your blonde, the more cooler that it will be. So it can technically be a very, very cool blonde. But I feel like that all depends on what your client's blonde wants to look like. So by the way, what I'm going to do here is, just so I don't get any dark on my face frame, I'm going to take this piece of foil, and this is going to cover the dark hair. So now I'm going to do the actual face frame itself. But good question. Thank you so much. Hopefully that answered that.
Yes, that was awesome. We have another one from Miranda. Do you have to pre-lighten the ends that you are color melting?
So you don't, if you have virgin hair, you do not. If you're working with someone who's like a level 6, 7, and they have virgin hair, you do not have to pre-lighten the ends, because you can use like 30 or 40 volume. But just keep in mind when you are lifting at those levels, just keep in mind they might not be as vibrant and bright as this. So that all just kind of depends on what you're wanting as your final look. P.S. I'm about to do the face frame. What we're doing here, and I'm going to actually move her this way towards you guys. I'm going to go in with that 6 neutral, 10 volume, and I'm going to do a little baby tap right here. Small little baby tap. Make sure that's feathered. We don't want any harsh lines. And then I'm going to go in with my favorite, the 9.23. Again, guys, that is the beige gold. And I will tell you guys how that breaks down. So whenever you have like a color like a copper mahogany, like a 4 or 5 or anything, in Pravana, how that breaks down is a 70-30 division. So for the 9.23, you have 70% beige and 30% gold in that color. So once again, up front, you have a lot of cooling, but just a little bit of that gold in there to help create reflection and to help just create that softness that you might lose if it was just a beige at a level 9. So once again, and then I'm going back with this. So I'm going back, it keeps it very neat, very clean. And I'm taking these in smaller sections just because, again, we really want to make sure that we're keeping everything clean and organized, and we don't want to transfer. So little baby tap, make sure we're kind of feathering. Perfect. Going in with that 9.23, beautiful. And then after this little section, I'm going to go ahead, answer any last questions, wrap up. How are we feeling about this, guys? Are we loving this technique? Are you excited to go paint the world Bronde behind the chair?
Everyone is loving it. They're so excited to get back to the chair and try this.
Oh, I'm so happy. So last little section, guys, right around this face frame. And don't worry, she'll get finished. I have Lexi here today, so she's gonna bust out the rest of this technique, right, Lexi? Yep. All right, so just a little bit. Again, this is with the level 6. I didn't want to do the level 5 because I feel like that's going to be too harsh of a transition. So a level 6 is going to give us just a little bit of, again, a little bit of depth at the base. It'll still look natural, and then just melting that right in with that 9.23. And this is with 10 volume because I'm not looking for any extra lift. She's already at a perfect level 9. We're just looking for deposit only. Perfect. So I'm going to just go like this. And remember, guys, after I am done, I'm going to be setting a timer for 30 minutes. Beautiful. For 30 minutes, and then I'm going to let that sit and process. So there we have it. We have the beautiful bronzing technique. Like I said, we do that face frame last. And just to go over my formula again, at the base, we use a little micro root of 5.22 and 10 volume. And then we melted that into a little bit more of a root of the 6 neutral beige with 5.22 and 10 volume as well. Where then we melted it into that mid shaft of 7 neutral beige with 20 volume to finish it off at the ends with the 8.22, 9.23, and 30 volume. That base frame is going to be that beautiful 9.23 with a little micro root of that 6 neutral beige. I'm so excited. I can't wait to show you the final results. And guess what? Before you know it, it will be, I believe, September 27th, and these tones will be available to you. Is that so exciting?
Awesome. Thank you so much. We cannot wait to see the finished result.
Absolutely. So thank you guys so much for having me. Is there any last minute questions you want to get in before we sign off?
We do have a question right here. Can you color melt with fewer shades, i.e. 6.22 into 9.23 for more drama?
Absolutely. We love the drama. We love it. I just wanted to put as many colors on her head as possible to, like, throw myself off. But oh yeah, this little tip and trick I do to make sure that I stay like organized is I take popsicle sticks and I number them and I put them in here. They're wooden popsicle sticks, and I do that to keep me very organized. So that way, like, I don't get thrown off, because I talk and I have ADHD, and it's easy for me to just dip that brush into another color. So I think we've all been there. I know I'm not alone in this. So yeah. But yeah, I really am excited. I'm hoping that you guys utilize these beige tones. I promise you'll love them. You'll have a lot of success behind the chair. Obviously, my DMs are open. Follow me on Instagram at ml_methods. Make sure that you follow PRAVANA on all their social platforms as well, on Instagram, Facebook. And thank you again, Behind the Chair, for having me. Today was really great. And yeah, it's been a good time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Bye.